Let's move on to our second trap. And this is a trap we see all the time. And it happens when couples have been working perhaps or thinking about their health for a while and starting to get really frustrated. And what happens is that people start to feel a lot of emotional distress around their inability to make a health change. Even though our recordings are happening in our own research labs, people are still very emotional on these tapes. And we see it. We see people very close to tears in a lot of cases. And when that happens, we hear things like this. Like, I'm going to quote you from one wife who she just had her second child. She's a stay-at-home mom. And she was feeling overwhelmed. And she said, I don't know what to do. I am looking at the scale every day, and I'm seeing myself balloon. I don't want to become my mom. But I don't know how to help it, because I'm so exhausted from the baby. I can barely get them food, let alone make myself another healthy meal. Getting to the gym, forget about it. I'm with the kids. I don't know where to put them. And I'm exhausted anyway. And so I'm just seeing myself get heavier and heavier, and I'm terrified that I'm going to end up like my sister. And you know what happened to her?
So unfortunately, the natural response to statements like that is to hear all of that overwhelming emotion, and the partner then tries to say things, usually through some kind of validation or reassurance, to make those feelings go away, right? To validate or reassure their partner. So sometimes it sounds kind of sweet. Partners will say things like, honey, there's nothing to worry about here. Don't worry. I still think you look great, and give it time. This will work out. I know you can get this under control. But lots of times we hear, because the emotions are so strong, lots of times we hear people be strident. We heard one husband who was scolding his wife. He said, you think you're overweight? That's just wrong. It's simply not true. Whether you see it or not, you're attractive. You have nothing to worry about. You can see the trap. Those kind of spouses are well-intentioned. They're moved by their partner's distress, and they want to erase that distress. They want it to go away, and they think that reassurance is the way to do it. Problem is, as you can kind of hear, the reassurance misses the mark. And it misses the mark because it says, your opinion about yourself, your concerns, your anxieties, they're invalid. Well, that's not actually that reassuring. What we need in those moments is actually two things. And that's what people miss. What we need is, yes, encouragement that we're still loved, encouragement that we're still attractive. Sure, we do need that. But at the same time, when we express distress like that, we need encouragement for the healthy person that we're trying to become. Providing both of these kinds of support at the same time, that can be kind of tricky. There can be a tension between wanting to help our partner change while also wanting to accept our partner the way he or she is right now. But whenever our partner is trying to do something hard, like lose weight, we have to understand both of these needs at the exact same time.
There's some pretty great research on this. We've contributed to some of it. I told you a moment ago that what we did in our labs is we videotape couples having these conversations about health and weight. The next thing we do is we follow those couples over the first years of their marriage or over the subsequent years of their relationship. And one of the things that we do every time we study them is we measure their weight. So we can assess who, over the years of their relationship, are gaining weight, who's maintaining their weight, and who's losing it. And we can relate those changes back to the kind of behaviors that couples were engaging in when we first saw them. Here's the surprising part. The couples that are the most reassuring, the most positive early on in the relationship actually gain more weight over time. Why would that be? Well, because that kind of reassurance really reduces your motivation to watch what you eat. In fact, the couples that were the most healthy over time, the ones that were maintained or even lost weight, were the couples where, yes, they were positive, but that positivity was mixed with some real hard-headed responses from the partner. We heard partners in the healthy group say things like, look, I love you. That's a given. I'm not going to stop, and you know that. Still, your health matters. It matters to me a lot. And when it comes to your health, I am not going to let you off the hook.
We heard one guy who was really a master of saying this kind of thing, and I'm going to read you a direct quote from what he said. His wife was really upset about having gained weight, and like many people, how hard it was to get back to the weight that she wanted to be at. And see if you can hear both kinds of support in this quote that I'm going to read. He said, "Baby, I hear what you're saying, and it breaks my heart to know that you see yourself that way. It breaks my heart when you look in the mirror, you can't see the same fantastically attractive woman that I see in the mirror, that I see sitting in front of me right now. But if you feel your weight is not where you want it to be, then we have to solve that problem. You and me, have to solve that problem. How do we move forward?"
Check out how that guy threads the needle. Does he say she's wrong about her feelings? No. But he also doesn't agree with them either. So he's able to say in one sentence, yes, I don't have the same opinion of you. I find you attractive. But the fact that you don't find yourself attractive, that's an independent problem. And it's still a problem that we can work on together.
So what if you want to be healthy and your partner isn't coming forth with all the support that you really need to make change? It seems obvious, but we need to communicate that to our partner, and we need to communicate that in a way that's not threatening. And specifically, what we need to communicate is that we need two kinds of support. We need to feel good and strong. People make changes not when they feel weak, but when they feel strong. We need our partners to feel strong so that they can make a change, but they also need motivation and encouragement so that they know that we know that they can make those changes.
There's a way for us to kind of pull that out of our partners if we have to. And you can say something like this. You can say, it's very nice of you to say that you're attracted to me still, and that matters. Because your opinion matters to me more than anybody else's. But you know what? I still want to work on my weight. It's still something that matters to me. And it's still something I could really use your help doing. If you could help me to steer away from the pasta and steer towards the celery, I'd appreciate that.
So that's another way of threading this same needle. And it speaks to the bigger point that mutual understanding is crucial in our relationships. That's pretty obvious, but when we're talking about sensitive issues like our health and our weight, there's a different kind of understanding that we need to achieve. And we need to help our partners feel good about who they are right now and also feel confident that they can make the changes that they need to make. There's a tension here, and we need to resolve that. And in order to do that, partners have to empathize with one another's needs, and they need to communicate those needs really clearly.